Hey everyone, my Ruteri mother batch of yogurt or fermented dairy is ready, and I'm going to share that with everybody. So come on, let's get this day started. Hey everyone, good morning, welcome all you new folks, and welcome back everybody to Loving It on Keto. Hey you guys, today on our Kickstart Your Weight Loss for January calendar is a regular keto, carnivore, or low carb day. Make protein your priority today, yes indeed. Now, I set my alarm for 4:30 this morning. I got up, this had gone off. I took the whole batch, covered it, and put it in my refrigerator. I didn't even check it out. Now, some things to state on when you do the mother batch. It can look just like regular yogurt, or it can be separated and have a curds and whey look, if you will. It can be more lumpy.
That's what I remember.
It depends on the batch. It really does. And there's nothing wrong with it. Yes, dear.
It also depends on whether you've also made it in
the sous vide.
Sous vide, and it looked different there. It depends, I guess, on where you do it.
It does. It just depends. I used a lot more probiotic powders in this one, and I used a different acacia fiber in this one. So we're going to check it out together, and we're also going to use the mother and some Faye yogurt in order to make a batch of real yogurt with the extra probiotics, the Ruteri, the Caseri, the Gassy, the coagulants. Yes, indeed. So, you guys, let me get this out of the refrigerator. The Instapot Pro comes with this lid, which is really nice. Let me move this over, and Harry, I don't have my thing on.
It's all right, put it on.
So I apologize if it sounds funky in the beginning, you guys. My bad. Now, I've got all my jars over here. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I used this to put the lid on it this morning. Now, one thing I did notice when I made the mother batch, the first original with all the powdered things in it, it's a very sour taste to it. But when you use it to make your next yogurt, that sour taste goes away. It's not as sour, but it's more sour and potent, I think, because of everything that you put into it. So I've got my jars.
Yeah, it dies out with each generation.
It does. And the creaminess, the texture changes when you make the yogurt. Honey, I need to grab some more of these real quick because I don't know how many jars I'm going to need. So, let me get my wide mouth. Oh, there goes that lid. Oh, I'll have to wash that later. Got all my stuff. So with that, we're going to look at this. Let me, where's my metal spoon? My big metal spoon that I used to have. I'll get one out of the drawer. I don't see it anywhere, which is weird.
No.
What? I know, it should be there, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Here it is.
You found it.
I found it. So let's take a look at it, you guys. So I see a lot of brown spots, and the acacia fiber I use is brown.
Right.
So that's probably what that is. And I'm not worried about it because as you refrigerate this, those probiotics are still alive and they're still going to be eating that. So yes, see how nice and firm it is?
No. Oh yeah, okay.
Now see all the whey at the bottom? You want to keep the whey for the mother. So you can do one of two things, and I think I'm going to do the latter of the two. Before I put this in, I'm going to take my emulsion blender. Ooh, look at that, how nice and creamy that is.
You see,
I'm gonna
hold it up.
It's thick and rich. I'm gonna take my emulsion blender and blend this together. Now it'll separate a little bit in the jars, and that's fine too. You wanna keep the whey. You can put the whey, which is the liquid part of it, you can put that in an ice cube tray, freeze it, bag it, and have that as your mother, right?
That's interesting. Because
there's just as many probiotics in the whey part as there is in the creamy part. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. But for the intents and purposes of eating it, I'm gonna blend it together and put it so that I have equal parts, more equalized in my jars. Sometimes it breaks apart like that, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends. There's no rhyme or reason for it, and sometimes it can look pretty funky too. So as a matter of fact, I think before I
when you do that, I'm gonna when you do that, it's gonna make the moisture go back into
the cream, the heavy thick
so
stuff.
Do you have to strain it to get the liquid back out of it?
Well, you don't want to take the liquid back out of it. It'll eventually raise to the top, just like oil separates from peanut butter.
Oh, okay.
That's why when you open a thing of yogurt or sour cream, you've got the waste, little watery looking stuff, and you pour that out. Well, you can actually keep that. I'm doing this because I want to, and I want to have it in there and mixed in there to eat. Plus, there's inulin at the top. Acacia fiber at the top, the brownness, so I want to mix that back into my yogurt.
Okay.
I want to get a spoon though.
Makes sense.
Because I want to taste this thick creamy part. This part. Okay. Now it's sour. It's a little bit more sour than the sour cream. But that's because it's the mother, and this will die down as you make the regular stuff with it.
Each generation will be a little less than the one before it, right? That's why you only want to go like 4 or 5 or something like that.
Right, but it still grows, but it's very tart and tangy. Creamy, creamy smooth. So I'm just gonna blend this with the immersion blender. It's really thick. When I do it in the sous vide, that made it like frosty, and this will get firmed up in the refrigerator too. Now I'll carry it over on the lid.
So when you do it in the sous vide?
When you do it in the sous vide, it's a creamier texture, more like this than it is, for me so far, the batches I've made, this makes it thicker. The sous vide makes it creamier, like a creamier texture.
Yeah, it's more...
It's more like this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little thicker than this, but...
Yeah, but you know, they get the gist.
Right. So come back, you guys, when I get this put in the jar. I'm just gonna empty my mother into the jars. And then we'll come back and we'll make a new batch out of the mother. Well, I forgot to do something I've decided just into my head, and thank goodness I thought of it right now. Since I'm gonna be adding regular yogurt to this, to seed it, to make it real yogurt, I'm gonna put some in this and put it into the mother batch, mix it in, so that I already have it in. Plus the probiotics can grow, right? Let me get a big spoon.
So how do you know how much to put in? You just put some in?
Just put some in. It says 2 tablespoons. You can use 2 tablespoons, and I'm just gonna put some in and see the whey in there? Can you see the water part? See the watery part? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. That's the whey, and it naturally separates.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
So I'm just going to put a couple of big heaping teaspoons, I mean like about a cup in here, just so I have those probiotics. And then I'm just going to mix it in so that I have real yogurt when I make my next batch. I'm going to put this over here. Want a bite? Mm-hmm. You can lick that spoon. And let me mix this together. Then I'll have enough to get in the jar that way too, right? Let me get the lid back. I need it as my spoon holder. Hold your ears. Now I'm just going to mix this in here. Now I don't have to even worry about having yogurt because it's already going to be in my mother batch, right?
Right.
And the nice thing is in the refrigerator, it's just going to be still producing more probiotics, right, as I go. So I'll have it in there. So like if you're working, you can put this on first thing in the morning. Just throw it in there. It takes 5 minutes to do, turn it on and go to work. So now I'll finish. This will have yogurt in it that way. So it'll all be good to go. Okay, now that has the yogurt in it, which will give it the yogurt probiotics that we need to call it real yogurt. And I will fill up my mother jars and have it all ready to go. So see you guys when I'm all done. Then we'll make the next batch. So I've got my third of a cup in there of the mixture. I just basically poured everything into my jars, scooped it out, and it looks about like a third. So I'm going to put my cream in there. Come back when I get the cream in, you guys, and then I'm going to blend it with my immersion blender. I have 2 quarts of my heavy whipping cream in here. I'm making a smaller batch because this was the sourest I've ever had, the mother batch, but I put a lot of probiotics in there, and I just want to make sure that I didn't do too much or it's not the acacia fiber. So I'm going to use don't go run out and buy acacia fiber yet. Use inulin until I figure out if it's the acacia fiber or not. Now I did taste the acacia fiber. I need to get a fork because there's a scoop in there. And it doesn't have like a bitter, I thought there was a scoop in there. It It doesn't have like any taste specific.
What's the smell?
It really doesn't have hair smell. It doesn't have a smell. It doesn't have a smell.
There's a slight smell or odor in there, but nothing.
But not like
I can't explain.
Sour or anything. So the verdict's still out on the acacia fiber, this particular one versus the inulin. Now I did use acacia fiber in my other ones, but it was a different brand. So I just want to make sure that I'm using, and I'm only doing half. What did I grab here? So I'm going to put this in. You're supposed to put 2 tablespoons for each quart. So I put in a 1/4 cup. And let me blend this in. Just to get it really blended, right? Now I want to taste this. I didn't think about doing that before, you know?
Yeah.
Hindsight. And let me make sure the bottom is stirred up really good and that there's all the good stuff off the sides. That tastes like sweet cream. Come taste it, Harry.
Does it?
Like sweet cream now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oops, wait a minute. I dropped it. So I'm going to add in, should I add in another quart or another 2 quarts? Another quart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's going to grow in there, so.
And the thing is it doesn't taste like sour at all.
Right.
At all. It just tastes like heavy whipping cream. And since two tablespoons of yogurt to make a whole new batch, I have 1/3 cup, so there's more than enough to have 3 of these. So how do I open these?
Oh, untwist it.
You're gonna have to untwist it, dear.
Here, hold this a minute. Just hold it.
Just leave that off, the lid off. Yeah, and I'll just pour that in.
Have to shake it?
Here.
Hold on, let me pull this out. Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
So I'm going to put 3 in, and that'll give me a full batch in this little container. And I wanted to taste it to see if the acacia fiber made it taste any different, and it didn't, which is good news. So I'm going to mix this. Whoops.
Oh, she's starting off really well.
There we go. So, since it tastes just like heavy cream, it should ferment properly, shouldn't have any issues. We're gonna put it in the pan, back in, come back, let me clean this up and get my Instapot ready to go. If you are new to making yogurt, I would suggest you use just the Ruteri yogurt probiotics. I would make sure you can YouTube William Davis yogurt, and there's lots of people who follow him that have made it. He talks about it, but in the book specifically on page 232, Lactobacillus Ruteri yogurt, it talks how to start it, why we're eating it, how many tablets, 2 tablespoons of probiotic fiber. He says raw potato starch. We have found that inulin or potato starch instead of potato starch. The acacia fiber works really, really well. They just need to be able to feed on a fiber, and acacia fiber for me works really well. He tells you how to do it. Now, I added also Bacillus coagulans, and the reason I did that is because it can reduce inflammation, reduce arthritis pain, reduce symptoms associated with irritable bowel syndrome, and accelerate muscle recovery after strenuous exercise, right? L-Ruteri is the tartest flavor. So when you're making it, you're going to get that tartness. You're also going to get that little residue of that orange in the chewable tablets. And that's why I think it makes it so sour, the mother. The coagulants makes a delicious, milder yogurt. And you can make any of these alone, or you can combine them. With L-Ruteri yogurt only, you need to place it in your fermenting device, which would be an Instapot. You can make it on the stove. You can do it, several different ways, but it needs to cook at 100 degrees Fahrenheit for 36 hours. Now, if you're adding additional strains like I did, they need a higher heat. The coagulants needs to be fermented between 115 and 122. Now, watching Dr. William Davis and some other folks that follow him, 105 degrees will ferment the other probiotics that I put in there, but it won't kill the L-Ruteri. Anything over, see now it's ready, it's on, and it's cooking at for 36 hours. So at midnight, day after tomorrow, we'll have yogurt. You need to keep it under 106 degrees. And he talks about if you want to combine it, don't cook it over 105. That will work for the other strains that I put in. Now, Lactobacillus gasseri, which I use, the gasseri strain can reduce your waist size by 1 inch when consumed over 90 days, even in the absence of any change of diet or exercise. He says that in the book. I do not. This is something he says. It can also reduce symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, reduce blood and urinary levels of oxalate. So if you have an oxalate buildup and you're trying to get rid of it, you want to add the gasseri, Gasseri, to this. If someone has gout, you want to make them a batch of the gasseri, help them get rid of those oxalates and flush them out of your system. So it's quite interesting. The gasseri and the urinary levels of oxalates, you guys know it can lead to kidney stones and can be instrumental in protecting against SIBO and SIFO. And he tells you how to put it together in here. And he tells you what to do. And gasseri needs to be fermented at 109 degrees for 36 hours. All of these are 36 hours. Their temperatures are a little different. And there's a medium temperature of 105 if you're combining them with L-Ruteri, according to Dr. William Davis. Now, I also put in, where's the other one I put in? Every one of these has, I'm telling you. So yeah, he talks about the mixed culture in here and fermenting them together. And then, what other one did I add? Where is it? And he talks about you can ferment other things if you don't want to use dairy at all. You can use coconut milk. You can use goat's milk, right? So the other ones are in here. I gotta find them, and I don't want to make you guys languish over me trying to find it in here. Gasseri, Cassie, C-A-S-E-I. I call it Cassie. So this strain of species provides unique immune system boosting effects. I need it. I have been more prone to colds and upper respiratory viruses since I had the C in 2022. And so I'm trying to boost my immune system, right? It is particularly effective against viral respiratory illness. That's why I chose the Cassie as well. And it also talks about how to make it, how much you need, and how to ferment that too. So those are the ones that I used. And then of course he goes into that this is fermented dairy. If you want the yogurt effect, you can add yogurt to it, or you can add the yogurt probiotics that make yogurt into it as well. But the gist of it is it's each different strain of probiotics has a different health benefit for you. And I chose the ones that would help us the best.
I'll put a link to that book.
Yes. And Ruteri is also a mood enhancer, very much so. So if you are a depressant, if you have problems with manic depression or mood swings, this and Harry's, yes, Harry has mood issues. So it's the oxycodone receptors that help. It gives you that feel-good feeling, right? It talks about, you know, you're going to be more loving and all the good stuff in here. So read it. It recalls the oxytocin boost you'll receive from the yogurt. Also increases feelings of empathy, right? So the good news is all of these. Plus, it helps with smoother skin, increased skin moisture. It gives you more sebum. In other words, it increased durum collagen for fewer wrinkles, accelerated healing, restoreful of youthful muscle that in total amount to age-reversing effect. Plus, you get that oxycodone receptor in your head without the drugs. They give you the feel-good feeling. So when you're depressed and you're in a moody mood and you're looking at the wrinkles and you're counting them, have some Ruteri yogurt. Yes, indeed. So I just wanted to share this with everybody. Sorry this is long and drawn out, but I wanted to recap and share with everybody. Plus, I wanted to taste and try the acacia fiber in that. So if you're adding them together, you're going to get quite a sour mother. More sour than plain yogurt on the shelf. So, and it can be thick and all of the whey can be added to it. It can be lumpy with whey in it. Just take an immersion blender or whip it together. Don't worry about that in the mother batch, okay? Because the mother batch is what you're going to use to make your yogurt. Anyway, everybody.
You might want to say that if you haven't seen the one that you made this of yesterday's video.
Right. Go watch that
I'll have
video.
the link. I'll have it linked at the end of the video, so you can click on that also.
Why don't we make this part 2? We should have made the other one part one and this part 2. Plus we have other videos that I've used. But Dr. William Davis talks about the benefits of keto. Eating keto. He talks about all the different strains. He also talks about fermented foods, other foods that you can make. Please remember to like, subscribe, ring that little bell so you get notified every time we upload a video. Give us a thumbs up and we'll see you tomorrow. And in 36 hours, I'll share my yogurt with everybody because I can truly call it yogurt instead of fermented dairy yogurt. Okay, good night, everyone.